Welcome back, friends. We're here for episode 9 of the Crypto Natives podcast. We're sitting here recording with Reneil and Shivani, two of the co-founders of the Museum of Crypto Art, who are taking off, and they've started their new campaign recently, activating some NFTs in this digital museum that also has an underlying token. So we're going to explore the idea that this group has been working on for some time, and also a little bit of their backstory. So welcome both of you. Thanks for joining me.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, as I was saying right before we recorded, it's super funny when you finally interact with somebody that you've been talking with on crypto for 6 months, and you've been interacting with a cartoon avatar, and then you finally see their face. And Reneil is one of the few people that I've met that actually match their CryptoPunk. So we could start this off. We'll just start at the very beginning. Give us a brief introduction or story, how each of you got into crypto, and then more specifically into the NFT space. We'll start with Shivani.
Yes, I joined in crypto. Maybe I was like 16 and I started playing around with my dad. He started investing like early on. I kind of forgot about it. I was about to enter med school. I was on that path for a while. I was literally about to enter. And then I met Colburn in July of 2020. Then I like deep dove into like Ethereum, NFTs, DeFi, like understanding everything because it's fascinating. And I was inside and it was the middle of the pandemic. And I was like, why don't I just learn about this? And then I decided to defer med school by a year so I could work on the museum project. And I ultimately rejected it. So almost like a year and a half now.
Yeah. Once you go down the crypto rabbit hole, you never ever leave. Nobody, I still have not come across one person yet who has left and decided to go back to whatever they were ultimately doing.
Yeah.
How about you, Reneil?
I started to get into crypto I heard about Ethereum before and about Bitcoin, but I really started digging in late 2017 when I found out about Decentraland and purchased land. We started working like on a game called Chainbreakers with my dev studio, tried to be like one of the early launch titles for DCL. And in 2019, while I was doing that, I helped to co-found POAP, the proof of attendance protocol at East Denver. Like I was like at the hackathon team that actually like pushed the first version to mainnet. And from there, Patricio did a great job to continue like really grow it. And in 2020, I teamed up with Yoni, a friend of mine, to build like curation interfaces for NFTs, which is how I met Corbon from Mocha, the original founder. And we started like the discussion, and like he got interested in what we were building. And as the museum transitioned or wants to transition into like a community governed vehicle, we teamed up and I joined as CTO and coordinated like the token launch on Polygon and like all of this together with my team. So we already have like years of experience on Polygon and Matic. So we had to build that cross-chain ecosystem. And all the time from what I was like where I started to talk about Decentraland until now, I spent all my time in NFTs, private business, and collected myself, obviously, like all the different things that came up.
I just want to add, I think this museum, we'll go into like the philosophies and things, but the actual practice and application of the thinking, none of it would happen without Reneil. There's no museum without Reneil. He's the very much the foundation for everything we built.
And even mentioning that the platform's pretty much built on Polygon and layer 2 is already ahead of the majority of the projects, because it seems like the majority of them are just implementing onto layer 1, which obviously has the gas fees and constructs, but probably working with POAP and all of your previous adventures, you understand the necessity of activating NFTs is going to be a very costly process. So going to Polygon seems like a surefire bet. But in terms of layer 2, is there a reason why you chose Polygon over some of these other layer 2s that are beginning to evolve, like Arbitrum?
Yeah, probably. So when I was in Buenos Aires during, like after I started into DCL, I was at the East Global Conference in Buenos Aires in 2018. And back then I met Jayanti Karnani, who's the founder of Matic/Polygon, even before he founded the company. And we became friends since then. And that's the reason why that was the first layer 2 solution that I trusted in. That was also like actually like developed in a way that devs could like jump on and actively build. So we've been building on that Matic alpha networks since 2019, since their first deployments, and gathered experience and trusted their team. And I think that's the main reason. Also, like they now have like a thriving ecosystem on Polygon, like tons of users. And I think Arbitrum or Optimism are an amazing technology, native to ETH. From what I feel, sometimes even quicker, but also depends on the gas cost, a bit more expensive right now, but right, these things will also change and adjust. But I guess the reason that we are on Polygon is mainly to do with like the network and the relationship to the Polygon founders, and our good experience with the tech.
So it's so funny you say that, because I mentioned in some of the stuff that I'm working out here in Vegas is that even though we're in this completely digital world, the relationships that we build are still the main purveyor to where we use and try to provide utility and build on. So yeah. I'm very glad that you brought that up. But diving back into, we'll go into some of the philosophies first, and then the second half, we're going to overview the website itself on here. So for those who are listening, make sure you go to the YouTube channel to watch that. Museum of Crypto Art. Right now, you have this activation where you activate 10 NFTs in your wallet, and then it can be displayed in this collection. And then there's an underlying utility. Would you view the Museum of Crypto Art as a social media curation platform? Is it a gallery of some sort? Is it maybe a combination of multiple ideas? Take us through the idea of where you think Mocha is going and some of the ideas you're trying to tackle.
I can start. I think, for this next generation of young people, and even right now in the way we live, the way we experience like art viewing and like understanding, it's become inherently personal behind our screens, right? Or even if you look at like a traditional museum that's like registered, like for example, in the US with the like American Society for Museums, like they operate in models that are pretty archaic because they ask you to be like passive users of their space. So like you enter, you view something beautiful. Maybe you like get attached to something, you take the time to learn about the artist, right? And then you're there experiencing the space and the people. But more so, they just kind of want you to like take in, the blue chip artists that are there, right? But the reality is like we feel that with visual arts and any kind of arts, it's becoming about your relationship with it. It's much more individual, and inherently like art is becoming a social experience for young people. So I would rather not say like we are a social media like curation platform, but rather like we're really trying to take a critical lens into like what is a museum for like Web3 and a metaverse first world. Like it is a place where you as an individual are looking at the art that excites you. You're trying to find communities that you connect with. And ultimately, the art is speaking to some visual language that you have. And so that's the reason that we build in VR, because we think in virtual reality, you can have those kind of ticks around like compassion and connection much stronger than you can in like a web gallery, right? But at the same time, we realize like that technology is pretty far in terms of accessibility for your average person. So a web gallery, whether that's like a members pass like we have, where you as an individual can see this like now massive community collection of that people have brought into, or you can see the permanent collection, which we basically took, the earliest crypto art and put it in there. And you can play with that as you would like. But ultimately, this is about an individual's expression in a museum.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think the ability to give tools to the users that are free to use, that allow them to curate their NFTs into like the community collection and become a part of the museum, but also to curate them into their own profile, which we call members pass, to express themselves towards others, other communities, other like friends or like people that they engage with in Discord. I think that's something that we'd like to like bring into the museum experience. And everything that we are like building in the web front end, which is like structured, organized like in some backend technology, like on-chain and off-chain, these data sets can be transformed or like translated into virtual reality environments, like in the near future. And I think that's interesting. Also, like into the real world, obviously, like with displays, televisions or whatever, people use beamers, projectors, that those organizers and event organizers can use our platform to easily exhibit tokenized art directly from the browser. That's also something that we want to like give as tooling to like make the experience more easy and simple.
I think, in terms of the question you asked is like where we're going as well. My mind comes to like kind of three things I think we've all been thinking about over the last couple of months. The first is like there's a need for like a neutral storytelling permanent place that's not scrolling on Twitter and not Discord. And we really believe that like a members pass and like a place where you can see other people and their full wallets. We've built a forum as well, so that people can start to have the conversations around like the underpinnings of like why certain projects started, or even like document over time, like this went on the blockchain on this day. And then some of those things are really important because we are creating like immutable history. The second is, we're like a metaverse museum. And to me, that means like we need to make sure this metaverse is like for like beautiful people, arts and culture, not for like mega surveillance capitalism, which could come in. So, we're building a virtual curator with Karan, and this curator will like basically understand and be able to tell you about artists that are in your collection or in ours. And ultimately kind of, I know everyone uses Ready Player One, but ultimately it becomes like that character. And so that's where we're thinking with like, kind of metaverse first. And then the last, I think
the Archiva, right? Like the Archiva hologram who walks with the main character through the libraries.
Yes. And then I think third is there is a story called crypto art here, which is an actual art movement of a lot of artists and creators who are empowered financially to like just be very much individual free thinkers. And I think the traditional art world needs to understand that. For us, they've gotten lost in the kind of dollar signs. So we're trying to do the work with like writing and like doing shows in physical places around the world to like really tell that story.
The story behind art, and this is before even NFTs, but when you're buying antiques or collectibles or anything like that, those who are able to perpetuate the story behind it it's very important to its value and its place in society. Recently, I did like a private gallery art tour for this individual had like a multi-million-dollar collection, and he went through every single piece to tell me every individual story behind every single one. And it made me think like, this is going to be us in the future, but maybe in some sort of like virtual reality world, although we aren't completely there yet. We have to be able to tell the stories behind it, or those new members in the NFT community aren't going to understand what it is, right? It's just those who just get into crypto or get into NFTs or say they're like, it's just a JPEG. I don't get it. They don't understand the technical underlying behind it, how many wallets it's gone through, and the whole narrative behind it. So with storytelling, that's one of the primary goals of Mocha. Have you looked into some of the older projects, because those have a little bit of a larger history and maybe it's a little more fruitful and there's controversy behind more of these stories? Do you look at NFTs differently depending on their age or the community itself?
I
Probably
think
both, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say both. I definitely think with this Genesis collection, which is like right now 200 works that like Colburn donated like 150 into, Renee donated like 30, I donated like a couple, and we had different collectors kind of just, we asked them like, if you have crypto art that you think represents like the earliest stuff before December 2020, we want to like put it in this time capsule, and we don't sell anything that comes in the museum, we never sell. It's going to be there forever. So that collection is the prize is around like, were you here before things blew up? But I would argue that like, yes, that is very valuable, but also like, did the person like either stick around to like support other artists and then create their own narrative, or B, maybe they left and then came back with a vengeance and just did like crazy marketing, which a lot of them have. But I would argue that communities around NFTs now are equally as valuable, like CryptoPunks. Yeah.
And that's completely different from traditional art, as you mentioned, in the, we'll call them the Web 1.0 museums that just exist in the physical world. When you're admiring a painting or a sculpture, you don't know the community that's associated with it. It's almost like it's like the community's gated, because the majority of people who appreciate that art is generally large or high net worth individuals, or those that are considered the quote unquote high society, right? That's kind of like how art was kind of viewed for a long time. And now that the gates have been lowered and anybody can introduce any artwork that they want into the ecosystem or participate and hop in the Discord and find the community around it, it makes it much more user friendly, but much more inviting overall. And it makes a lot of us really interested into what art actually is, because I have to say, I always thought my artistic abilities was one of my worst traits or skills. But now being in the space for 6 months, which feels like 6 years, it feels that I have a firmer grasp on what art actually is.
Yeah. I don't know. There's like always this thing around like, I'm not quote unquote artistic, and I just don't believe that with anyone. Like everyone's creative, and pretty much the way you channel it, then it becomes artistic, you know? And that's like, I totally agree with you. That's one of the best parts about this, is you're just like confronted with really beautiful images or concepts, and you're like, wait, if someone did this, like, of course I can. Like maybe I can create things too. So yeah.
So we're moving into like the metaverse world right now. Many of the metaverses are web browser based. I believe there's maybe a handful that have gone into the VR world, like Somnium Space. Where do you see it going? Do you think these virtual galleries will exist primarily in a browser-based museum, something like a CryptoVoxels or Decentraland, or will everything be more of like a VR world or a augmented reality world? Or is Mocha just going to integrate into as many museums as possible through whichever dimensions the metaverses are?
Actually, yes.
Yes.
So the latter one. So we are currently designing like the tech stack that will enable us to provide spaces with different LODs, so level of details, with different texture, resolution that allow you, and also like the buildings with different polycounts that will allow to have like an exhibition, which is 3D building, and that contains 2D NFTs, also like can also like contain statues or whatever, like a building that contains other NFTs, contains art, and that this data set can be served from our APIs into every virtual world, or like also like 2D websites, in a way that the integrator can choose from the different level of detail, different structures and texture resolutions, what suits into their engine, into their 3D engine, into their tech stack that they have on their end to render the virtual world, and then integrate like an instance of the exhibition space into that virtual world. So in our vision, the exhibitions that can be curated with Mocha by DAOs or individuals in the future, they will be reflected inside multiple spaces throughout the metaverse, which are created by different virtual world projects. And the idea behind all of this is to make curation and management of these exhibitions easy, so that they can change at a single point the different NFTs, different art pieces, and reconfigure the exhibition in a way that like all the other instances get updated and reflected, so that the user only has to like manage one single exhibition and like have like hundreds across the metaverse like updated as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think all the world.
That's what we are working on.
Because there's so many coming, right? We see like more. It's very clear to us that we need to be agnostic.
Yeah.
But we have used like Somnium Space as this primary sandbox because metaverse architecture is just awesome. Like when you really like start to think about like the fact that you don't need physics and like real world functionality, you can start to really create environments that like push you towards certain concepts. So like you can enter one room and it explodes into like 3 others, and then enter a little rabbit hole. Like there's always, you can play with metaverse architecture. So that's what we're like really fascinated by. And that's what these rooms ultimately become, like things you can import. I think in terms of like the metaverse to go into, I definitely see like Unreal Engine doing things that are pretty wild. Epic Games just has like a pulse check, potentially a tech stack that is like strongest for the future. But a lot of this depends on GPUs too. Like laptops frequently crash when you start to get high aesthetics. And honestly, I don't want to enter a web gallery unless the aesthetics are amazing. Like I enjoy playing in Decentraland and like crypto voxels, but like the stuff that makes me think like this is like what I could imagine in real life, but even more awesome, like with shadow and texture and light, you just need really, really high processing. And I don't know how far like along we are there.
Yeah.
It would take a bit, I think. Like I'm very sure that you will soon have like 10 years or something, 5 to 10 years, like cloud rendered GPU power, CPU power, like everything available. And then we just have like our regular notebooks log into a website and everything is rendered like in the cloud. And then you have like beautiful aesthetics available from within your browser. But yeah, we will see how long it takes for humanity to come there.
I do like some of the like, you know, like the Ray-Ban Apple glasses. Like some of that stuff is cool to me because it's like a little more portable and you can start to have like a digital overlay on the world. And I think Snapchat is just like far and ahead when it comes to AR actually. So I think they could do some really cool things with like, especially NFTs, and like, if you want to just like drop a room in a little garden maybe and go through it. Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool.
So would you say the Museum of Crypto Art eventually just going to grow to be kind of like a packaged art curation system where you can just like upload or you sign in your wallet to whatever metaverse, and then it just helps you design or build a gallery on your own? Is that kind of like the trajectory that it's going?
I would love that. I think I think that would be really strong. I think especially when the virtual creator is like fully fed and create like has all the, it would be amazing that anyone can interact with it and then just have an encyclopedia of crypto art at their disposal in a space that they've created.
Yeah, and like as we are like also have like these community collection and the permanent collection as like permissionless exhibition, ready for permissionless exhibition. People will be able to also choose from those collections and put those into their own exhibition, which can then be reflected across different virtual worlds. I think that's very important because everything, like all the data is like public anyway on chain, and we care about ownership. It's more important to make like all the beautiful art accessible to everyone on the planet And that's something that we really like stand for at Mocha. And we want to like build these tools that allow people to query our APIs and fetch the collections and display them somewhere in real life and also in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be a very basic question, but how is Mocha different from something like On Cyber and some of these virtual galleries that exist?
I think On Cyber has like a really good model. And if you would like to like explore in the web, like with a white wall gallery space, it's perfect. But I think the differentiation here is like not just the intention around like crypto art as a concept, but in the outcome, we would like the space you're in to not be a white wall gallery aesthetic, but to really be like customized in the way that you would like. And the artwork that you can bring in can come from people all across the world rather than just from your own wallet. Yeah.
Okay, so the shared aspect to it is different. And so in Mocha's case, whichever NFTs are activated are pooled into, right? It's like becomes a community pool where then you can build your gallery based off of all the NFTs that have been activated onto the application.
Mm-hmm. And you know, when you were talking about some of like the earliest art, right? Like there's some projects that we're working with to like kind of bring some of their art into the museum, like curio cards and Bitcoin and like super early, like, you know, a lot of data, like things that really are going to be treasured in the soul of people who love like crypto as a culture. And so we hope that these like rooms ultimately you can play with those as you would like. Yeah.
Is there a goal to be cross-chain compatible to some of the NFTs that exist on like Bitcoin or Namecoin or even forward of like Flow and Sol and so on?
Probably, yeah. Like having Ethereum or like in Web3 Ethereum EVM user account, like a public Ethereum address as the main account, but we can attach different other accounts as well and import stuff from there. Like people are constantly requesting, for example, Tezos, because like Hic Nunc very big there and like a lot of art was published there. But for us, like the priorities are now first EVM. So starting with Ethereum, Polygon, and the tools that are there, because the user has the same account on all of those. And but we are definitely looking forward to, for example, like aggregate Tezos in the future, because it just makes sense. So much art is living there. And if we can find a way to like handshake in a Tezos address so that the ownership is then proven via the Ethereum account, and we can then query like the inventory from an API at hand, that would be pretty cool. And like nothing speaks against integrations like this, because like we are like cross-chain and like I have a cross-chain mindset already. So yeah, probably like all the very old ones, like the colored coin and like yeah, Bitcoin native art pieces, they are bridged into Ethereum and like embedded from there. But yeah, I think everything is possible. It's just a matter of priorities and like where do we like put our developers on at the moment.
We're doing a lot of stuff and it's super exciting, but we definitely have to prioritize.
Yeah, you have to partition it and grow over time. I like to speculate into the future so that we can all kind of understand the page that we're on.
Yeah.
Let's dive a little bit more into, I guess, the tokenomics and the token. Right, there's a token called Mocha. Currently, right now, there is a giveaway or a participation giveaway to activate 10 NFTs per day to put into the community pool. First, we'll just talk about the token itself. What is the utility of the token? Is it catered more towards just like the DAO governance model? Is it something that's going to be used for participation within the ecosystem in terms of a form of quote unquote money? What is the overall view of the token?
Do you want me to take that? Go ahead.
Yeah. So right now, like we are still like in the process of like combining the DAO frameworks to really launch like an on-chain DAO. But we don't have that final yet. So right now, what the token is doing is it allows you to express yourself further with the members pass. So the more Mocha you hold or stake, the more Mocha points you get. So if you hold like 10 Mocha in your balance on Polygon, you get 10 Mocha points. If you stake those 10 Mocha, you have 20 Mocha points because we have 2x multiplier if you stake Mocha. If you provide liquidity on QuickSwap worth 10 Mocha, so 5 Mocha plus equivalent in ETH, you get 50 Mocha points. So it's a 5x. And we incentivize people to provide liquidity on our trading pairs on QuickSwap so that they get more Mocha points. And we have like a ranking system, which allows users to climb this ladder, like this ranking system to like up to rank 1, which is like connoisseur, on which you have like the highest privileges inside the ecosystem. For example, that is right now gated access to various channels on Discord, gated access to forum categories. When you create your members pass or you sign in the first time, you can curate 10 NFTs into each of these different tabs, into the buckets that you can create. And you can create 3 different ones. If you are a connoisseur, highest rank, you can curate, I think, 20 or 30 of those buckets, call them how you want, and into each of them, you can curate 100 pieces. So with the highest rank, you have 10 times more influence on like the community collection, which ultimately feeds from the crypto art tabs of the profiles of each user. Because like, if you don't have any Mocha, you can only put in like 10 NFTs into that tab. If you have the highest rank, you can put in 100. And we are like constantly like adding more utility into this ecosystem, which is based on this Mocha point system that aggregates in symbiosis with this ranking system, like an easy to understand system that can also be enriched by engagement. So it's not only about like balance and like staking, it's also about like engaging inside the Mocha ecosystem. You can also gain Mocha points by holding POAPs, for example. We had like a mission system inside our Discord where like you had to do different things, learn about the Dapp, like art pieces of stuff, and then you get like leveled up into the next mission. We saw that at Avogotchi and loved it, and we like replicated it in a more artsy way. And yeah, we gave out like 1 POAP token for each mission that has been completed, 12 in total. So some people got 12 POAPs, each was or is worth like 10 Mocha points, and basically like an equivalent of like 120 Mocha tokens in your balance. And that's how we like build like an ecosystem that's about like token utility, but also engagement, because we believe that this is the way to build up like a fruitful community where not only people who have like the financial capacity, but also those that have time can come together like and have fun and like utilize all of what we are building in a meaningful way.
I'll just add, I think with it's, it's a governance and curation tool. And I think Reneil described the curation ecosystem like fully. The governance part of the token, it's like with DAOs, we're at a place where we like see the landscape and we're moving towards it, but we want to make sure we get like the power structures right between people and like have the right UI so that you actually vote and things like that. So I think we're taking that stepwise rather than just like saying we're a DAO from like the beginning and like not actually doing anything other than like vibing in Discord. Yeah, I think I'll also add for the token supply, like 50% of it is reserved for like art Mocha swaps. So that ultimately over time, like we have a collection that is like fully with people who are like wanting to donate in and then get their curation like amount higher, then they can activate more. Like it ultimately feedbacks in with the amount of token you have.
Love that positive feedback loop in the crypto world. Never ending. But right now we're like in this forefront of multiple sectors that are kind of emerging from crypto. Obviously NFTs took over 2021, but now it seems like we're moving into this metaverse, but also DAOs are like right on the forefront as well. So it's smart to explore the ideas, but not just rush into it, or else you'll have some sort of cataclysmic event and everything will ultimately fall apart, which is unfortunate. Yeah. And I like DAOs. I think DAOs are a great idea. I have read a lot about governance issues where you don't reach the amount of participation that you want. Do you go to the delegative model? There's so many features around it. But go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Was it lag?
I was just going to end at the point where a museum that all of the participants are contributing their NFTs to be used. It makes sense that the people would eventually have their own vote and say in it as well.
I was just going to add, I think we should really look to like Web 2.0 for lessons on what's happening right now, because a lot of companies during that time were like, we have a community, therefore we are okay. But truly you need like a technology stack and you need like a way to align people together. And they need to be able to play in an ecosystem where they feel like connected and feedback. It can't just be like DAO for DAO's like label. So I think we're doing that first, and then we'll be able to actually cater to a community in the right way, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that like over the past 2 to 3 years, like a lot of stuff has been explored like by very smart people who like doing nothing else than DAOs and like building those frameworks. And I think it only makes sense to wait until like certain best practices have evolved, and then like adapt with what is like working best for like a museum structure with like an artist council, like a collectors council, a team, and then the entire community that will like take different roles. Like, and I think we need to like also pave the way in a way that when we like giving out rewards or like finding functions inside the DAO stack for a number of like a bucket of people that wants to like be active for like whatever reason inside the ecosystem, I think we need to like build like a path before we enable people to do that, because otherwise you have both things simultaneously. You need to like think what should they be doing, like what should the community be actually like doing, and then they are at the same time requesting like I want to do something, and we need to, and we are doing this right now, need to like explore a couple of things which then can be further decentralized with like DAO frameworks. And think after we like went into those directions for a couple of months, we will have like easier time to select the right tech stack, to select the right advisors in that space, and then find like a great like combination of different solutions to really nurture the community in the way that it's meant to be for like a Web3 museum.
In the Web3 museum that you're creating, do you see the ecosystem growing to be a culmination of multiple communities, or do you think it's going to be ever growing and just become one giant community on the platform that interacts differently from how a native NFT community would?
I think it's multiple for sure. There's so many niches. If you want to just look at only the art itself, I mean, you have like groups of at least 100 artists now that are like unifying around different styles and different tools. If you want to look at like curation, there's people who want to do like in-person things. There's people who want to like just build in the VR. Like there's 4 architects now that have started within our group. And I see many communities coming together around like pretty unified, less conflict of interest, which is good for what we want to build.
Yeah, also like all the different communities that already exist, like which we are currently looping in with the community ladder that we have kicked off last week officially. So We are rewarding people to activate the NFTs and like count up the amount, the number of NFTs for like a given project. For example, like Advatas and Mooncats are known, and Avogotchi. Those are the top three. I think in total it is like almost 5,000 NFTs that their community members have activated. And obviously they will like also like curate their inventories. We will see lots of Mooncats inside the museum and inside the members profiles. And I think it only makes sense to like provide like a second home for these communities where they can like explore crypto art from the stands from which they are coming, because I believe that there will be like crypto art around like any given topic.
Mm-hmm.
It will be like, yeah, a portrait of a punk holding a mooncat at some point. You know, it's going to happen. And I think it's Mocha's mission also like to provide like a place where all these communities can gather, like, and explain their projects to each other, and like finding overlaps of interest, to like, yeah, also like feedback back positive energy into those communities that are coming to us now. Because yeah, I think as an NFT collector myself, that's what we want to have also, like a place where you can find like-minded people, and it's not always only about art. You have also the opportunity to talk about other NFTs with these members passes. And imagine like at some point we will have like events inside the museum where you can see like all the other people that are inside this event space, and you can check out what NFTs they have curated inside their inventories, and you will find like overlaps. Yeah, you also have like these and that NFTs, like, do you remember? And then new stories are being told, or old stories are being told inside the museum, which will lead to new stories being woven like inside Mocha. And that's what we want to be, like the ground for discussion about NFTs that people own, but also constantly being a space where you can, while you're doing this, look at art that has been curated into the museum.
We're beginning to see this a little bit. I've seen this with a few metaverses that have come out where they integrate NFTs from existing communities, and you can use them as a pet or an avatar, which then is onboarded different communities into each other respectively, buying the assets and underlying utility. So encouraging communal conversation on a platform that doesn't exist, especially a conversation that's open and fair, because we know Twitter can become very primal and tribal, and there's a lot of tribalism that is accentuated through Twitter, especially with some of these other communities that have been around longer, or the social status or anything of that nature. So yeah, I enjoyed that. But speaking along the terms of reaching some of these, I'll call them more evolved communities, how is Mocha going about getting those communities that they're larger to come in and activate their NFTs?
A lot of it is like our relationships with those people. And I think we know them and they know us. And because we're like a foundation, and because we're trying to build something that's neutral, I think they're coming naturally. But, you know, in my mind, it's not like we need to go for like the number one most talked about community online. I would rather like, and I think all of us are aligned that we see certain projects with high integrity that are going to stick around, even if they don't have the hype machine right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. And like we also like we have this concept of museum wings, which will probably be also like interesting in the future for these different communities that have shown integrity and have shown that they like come back like after like, or like sustain the bear market, and communities that are not just in for the hype. Those are what we are really looking for to work with. And yeah, people who are like building, who are providing value to the NFT space. Not those who are just like throwing out NFTs like the nth PFP and like throwing like the default copy pasta roadmap and like, yeah. it's just not
bad. Yeah.
the longevity of this is not given, I think. Maybe like some of those will like be still there in 2 or 3 years. But who knows, right?
Yeah, NFTs are evolving, art is evolving. And before we do, let Shivani share the screen and we could go through the website. What is each of yours description or definition of what art is? This seems to be a very common debate on crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter. Is a mooncat art? Is a POAP art? The concept of art is evolving, especially with programmability and compatibility of all these different platforms. Just wanted to hear each of your individual ideas of what art is as helping assist the modern museum take into the Web3 world.
I was just having a conversation with my friend like yesterday where so she has to submit her favorite art piece to her residency application for like transplant surgery. Okay, for some reason they want to know what her favorite art piece is. So I was talking to her and she was like, oh, I guess I could pick like one of those old like Dutch paintings where people are like cutting people open. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you know what I really want to pick? There's a 30-second clip of the Raptors just like dunking on the Lakers. And somehow that 30 seconds makes me feel more alive than any art piece I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, that's your art. Like, that is your favorite art piece. Like, you just defined it. And I'm not here to tell you what it is, what the aesthetics are. I think we're so past like the idea that you need to put paint to paper or like something like that. It is what you define it as. But I do push back against the idea that like, if something has marketed itself very well, therefore it's good art. Like, I just don't think that's true. So much like quote NFT art, which is not a thing. It's just shitty. And like, if you're going to market it and tell me that you bought it for like this amount of money, like, I don't care, you know? Yeah, so I think it's a very personal thing. And it is about connection to something. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's super subjective. And that's why we don't restrict people to put in like a mooncat or something into like the crypto art tab of their members pass, which is ultimately channeled into the community collection and can be exhibited in real life everywhere on the planet. I think that's what we want to do, like lower the borders and let everybody subjectively define for themselves what is art for them, and then feed it into like the museum of the future.
It's a good question though, because I think as a museum also we think about like, you know, if we're going to say something is like the crypto art 101, like let's say there's a course called Crypto Art 101, like what will we be showing? Right. And I do think there are certain like groups of artists that have like defined their own sub movements. And I would qualify those as like quote fine art in this space. But I think there's a big difference between like fine art and just art. And neither should live above the other. It's just that fine art is for people who are interested in like formal things like, you know, medium and like technology and like identity of the artist. And like people take a very like historical lens on those things.
But one of the crypto, I guess you call them crypto art movements that came to mind was what's called trash art.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that's like that's a niche.
It's niche. I have a few friends who are artists in it, and it's really popular, but to probably 99% of the world, they wouldn't understand what it is. But it's like you have to understand the underlying culture of the internet to understand what trash art even means.
Yeah. I mean, there's like computer art, internet art, digital art from the 60s. Trash art is so crypto art. Like it's very much in my mind going to be written down for that. Yeah.
Do you think Mocha will help identify some of these sub niches in the art world? Is there any sort of educational component that the team is looking to install into the platform in the future?
Yeah, I think with this virtual curator, the way that we're training it right now is for each art piece, there's a writer, Max, who's on our team, and he's doing a whole deep dive, like 1,500 words per piece into the artist, the movement, the formal qualities, and like how this artist works with others. And ultimately, like this curator, I hope is able to educate people on like different sub movements. And not just Max is the first one to write about it, but we would really like more people to write, so we can start to build that education quality into this. Yeah.
It's so important to have those definitions. Obviously, the story is very important, but to be able to draw some distinction between what each movement or what each subsection or subsector of art or crypto art is very novel to the growth of the industry, because the majority of us, and even myself now, I've only participated mostly in NFT collectibles because I don't understand how to value art. But if I understood the different movements and I can make that distinction, it would probably attract many more collectors and community members into the space, just because of having a firm understanding.
Yeah, there's like trash art. There's like this kind of digital surrealism with a lot of Argentinian and Colombian artists, which is like amazing. There's like a whole 3D sculpture VR 360 creative group, which in my mind is like, just with the invention of a camera, they're just doing that, like a whole new medium. So I'm really excited to talk more about those things, definitely. And also get people's input on what they're seeing, because we're seeing some things, but everyone's seeing different things, and we should be able to bring those together.
I wonder if there's some cultural trends. And I was just thinking of this while we've been having this conversation. In the real world with art, you have these like geographical culture sections of art that are kind of spawned from this area. And that probably is very, that's pertinent and exists in the crypto community. But now you have these internet cultural subsections as well that participate on whatever native chain that they're on, or the year maybe that they got into crypto was influenced by whatever the morale was of the area. And so I think about like Rare Pepes and from 2016 to 2018 is like very communal. And then the Ethereum early collectibles are more individualism and trying to identify, what represents you the most. And these are just things that I've been noticing as I dive through these spaces. But it's cool because there's also a geographical component to it as well.
You definitely have to write on the forum.
I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
All into the curator.
I try. I like to just throw out ideas out here. I live out here in Vegas, where we actually have a pretty strong NFT community, probably about 500 people or so, and seeing some of the similarities between the art, all the digital art that they put out, there are some confluences there, which is interesting. But if you'd like to share the screen, and then we can go.
I'm just starting.
Yeah, no problem. The platform's really cool. The website's cool. Hopefully Mooncats can continue to grow upwards so we could be a part of that giveaway.
It's super tight. 150 activated NFTs between Mooncats and Advertise.
How many? 150?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, let me share my screen. I just got everything loaded.
Cool. Yeah. And I noticed with the website, there's like a few different components to it. You have the app and then the overall website itself too, which has different components to it.
Why don't I start from here? app.museumofcryptoart.com.
Yeah.
Go to your members pass. This is my wallet address that doesn't have my name because it's not my legend. But I still have things in here that I very much love.
Yeah, so Shivani's going through. This is how you go and activate. You click on members pass, and then it gives you a drop down of all of the individual NFTs that are, or categories of the individual NFTs that are in your wallet.
And I can select up to 10. So I'd like to activate this. I just got this piece as well.
Yeah, you've quiet block art, avatars, Avagachi. It's mostly in the art world and less on the collectible side.
I do love my parallels though.
There's so much in this space. All right.
This is by Luna. Okay, I love this piece.
How long have you been collecting for?
Me? Oh, since July of 2020. I got my first piece was Frenetic Void. And I paid like, at the time I wasn't thinking in ETH, and I paid like 8K, and it was like 2 months of salary, sorry, 3 or something like almost my full like savings from my like research job. And I was like, what have I just done? But it was amazing. And yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you click on them, and then you just press activate. Transaction is pending, and yeah, it's a very sleek, simple process. And you do this every 24 hours, correct?
You can, yes.
And is the activation, is this running through just the giveaway part component, or is this forever tied to just trying to onboard as many NFTs to the platform?
Yeah, it's forever. Like once you've activated an NFT, it will remain active forever. Actually, what's happening is like an on-chain transaction on Polygon that is registering the chain ID, the contract hash, and token ID of the assets that you are activating. And we use this as a way, in a way that people bring their most meaningful and valuable things first, so that we have like a good quality of NFTs in general in the museum. And it also acts as like a spam filter, because we only display stuff that has been activated on chain, and this is limited by a smart contract. So you cannot really like bot this completely down, like in a way that you would like just like throw in 10,000 or 100,000 Polygon NFTs that are minted for free, and then you crash the entire museum. Like stuff like that is not possible due to this. But what we are also doing from next year, I think we announced that somewhere, but I can say this again, is that we will narrow it down more in a way that you can every day activate one NFT for free. But from the second one to the 10th, you will have like a price curve that increases the more NFTs you want to activate in one batch. And we call this like a whale tax. And this is like taxed in Mocha. So you need to pay Mocha to activate more than one NFT from January next year. And all that Mocha is burned to deflate the currency. So it's beneficial to all Mocha holders. And it still leaves like the opportunity for everyone to bring 30 NFTs per month. If you are not a whale, which is totally fine, I think, to curate your identity and bring the most meaningful things, while having this deflationary mechanism in the token contract, like on the lowest level, where like the entire ecosystem builds on top of.
So Mocha is also sound money, according to the ETH Wolves.
That's true.
I like that. So what is Shivani? What link are you on right now?
So I was just navigating through. So I went to the leaderboard section, and there's a community ladder where, based on the number of NFTs a project is activated, they get pushed up. The top 10 projects will be airdropped a total of 100,000 Mocha tokens, each kind of graded by their rank. And I had just clicked on the super rare one.
Okay. And then in terms of the airdrop, I had a few people asking, where does the community funds get airdropped to? Is it one individual user that Mocha's decided to? Is it just a wallet that's then shared to somebody? How does that work?
Shivani, maybe you can refresh again. Like we are currently like fighting against load and improving like database queries and like moving everything.
No, it's for the for example, for super, it's for their DAO.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think
we will receive like one address from the project.
Yeah.
And then send it there.
Awesome.
But what we will also do is like we will also provide tools that allow like distribution in a way that is more easy than for the project. For example, you could say like, as like a project owner, you say like, please distribute it between like everybody who has like activated and also owns an NFT from our community from this and that contract. And then we could like give like get like a list of Ethereum addresses from them or like from us together, map it, and then we distribute it with like a multi-sender directly into the recipients. But right now it's planned that the projects are doing this themselves or can decide how they want to do it. But I guess there will like be best practices that emerge, and then we will help to distribute.
Okay.
Oh, I love this one.
It's crypto art.
Julia is great.
So
Yeah.
once you click on an individual piece, anybody could comment next to it, and that's just the community or the forum engagement surrounding the artwork.
This is separate from the forum. This is just a
Okay.
like and comment functionality in the Dapp that's on chain. But ultimately, we want to feed all the likes and comments into the virtual curator as well.
So it's very similar to like how Instagram is right now.
But it's also scarce. So if you like, right now the interface says like is available and comment is available. Shivani, you can maybe like one of these pieces, and then like a cooldown is triggered. So you can like every 12 hours and you can comment every 24th, I think. And that way we can bring scarcity to likes and comments. And in contrast to Instagram, where like all of these don't have value because like it's absolutely inflationary and everybody says, oh, love your shot, like I copy paste into 1,000 pictures. We want to like bring value to likes and comments again. And like due to like, as we are doing this, it makes sense to at some point sort like the collections according to likes or comments.
Yeah, introducing scarcity to likes and comments. That is awesome. And they're also for those that are just listening, every time you like and comment, it also signs a transaction onto the blockchain. So it's provable scarcity.
I think Colburn is like pure maximalist on like get everything on the chain so it's recorded for history, and so is Reneil. So everything that we can record, we are recording. And I think Reneil is especially like very, very hygienic about making sure that everything you're doing is part of the ecosystem, meaning you're not just like throwing things out there and they don't land in the community. And I think that's really important. Yeah. Especially over time.
So let's say one of these pieces of artwork ends up getting 10 likes. Is there an algorithm to where it boosts to the top at this point in time? Or is it just a feature of somebody who may stumble across the artwork and see that there's all this engagement on it?
Yeah, right now it's still randomized. Like right now, everything, all the collections that you open, except the permanent one, are like random. And then that way we make sure that people see different things because there cannot be a ranking at this point in time. And if you would like do this too early and then sort by likes, then the piece with 1 like will get more likes and the pieces with 0 likes will never get a like potentially, right? That's why we already collect likes and comments and reward mocha points also for those engagements. But we don't filter them yet by likes.
Should I stop sharing?
I'm trying to see. Click on. I'm seeing if there's anything else on there that we haven't gone over. Is there anything else on the platform? Mocha, there's information. I was looking at this earlier.
That's solid APR.
102% APR. That's some solid crypto numbers, but we need to add like 3 zeros after that so we can get everyone interested.
You can maybe go to, that's our wiki. That's also very nice. And then we can also add, like maybe you can later curate stuff into tabs, Shivani.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is our wiki with all the information on all the things.
So the wiki has all the information about the tokenomics itself, governance, the core team, artist council. That's cool.
Yes. Where did you just see that?
Down at the bottom.
Oh my God.
So what is, can you give us the explanation of what the Artist Council is and how that's different from the team?
Yes. So the Artist Council is 9 individual. Sorry, Hackatao is actually two people, but 9 artists that we've known for a while. We have basically spoken to them at length over the last year and a half, and understand that they see crypto art as a movement. They each have their own kind of niche in this world. And I think, it was important to us also, like, geographically, that we got full diversity in terms of like everywhere around the world, because there are kind of crypto art collectives coming up. And this Artist Council ultimately for the permanent collection. So you saw kind of here, there's like permanent collection, community collection. For the permanent collection, they decide that, a lot of collectors want to donate works in, and we have a full list, and they just give like a yes or no. Last time we did this, there was a couple pieces where there was a debate, and ultimately there was a vote. The pieces came in or they didn't. So they act as the kind of curation body before we are able to become a DAO. Yeah.
If an artist decides, or they're voted in to contribute a piece of artwork to the permanent collection, is that artwork then custodied by the Mocha smart contract, or is it very similar to just the activation model? And then also, if it is put into a different contract, are they rewarded in the form of any token?
Those are like in an address, like in the wallet that is owned by the foundation. And right now it's a wallet because we need interoperability with Somnium Space also. So it's not in a smart contract. But this will probably change, like as Mocha is transitioning into a DAO, and other virtual worlds will have like better compatibility with smart contracts. It only makes sense to move these assets into like the DAO contract.
And I've been working to move everything on Arweave as much as we can get it on there, but I know that doesn't solve the custody solution. That's something that we definitely think about a lot. And it's having like a third-party custodian that keeps all the work safe.
It's all in time, all in the forms of scaling. Always it always has to be now the path to decentralization, or whichever decentralization on the spectrum is most preferable to the platform and the team.
I was going to go back to the members pass. And
what is reputation? Says on the screen.
Maybe I should go to Reneil's.
Yeah, maybe you can show reputation in my account, as I have lots of stuff there. You can go from leaderboard and then user ranking. I'm there somewhere.
And reputation is on the person's profile where it has the crypto art, and then also a reputation tab.
Yeah, we were thinking about like this reputation tab that we start with 2 default tabs, which is crypto art and then reputation, and all the others are like customizable. And reputation is something where people should bring their members, like POAPs, attendance tokens. For example, like I have like Bankless badge there, like a couple of other pieces that help me to identify credible actions that I took in the past. And yeah, we wanted to have like these 2 default buckets that people should fill before they write their own narratives with the custom tabs. So yeah.
Wow, this is cool. This really reminds me of the Xbox gamer achievement badges.
You can also like activate POAP tokens right now outside of this 10 NFT limitation. So you can instantly bring all your POAPs into Mocha and then curate them into the reputation tab.
And so these tabs that say avatars, generative art, coin collection, gotcha gang, etc. These are tabs that were customized by you or provided by the platform?
That's something that was customized by me. Maybe Shivani, if you go to your members pass, we can create like a custom tab on your account. So where all the tabs are, right next to reputation, there's like this plus button. Then you can add your own tab, give it a name, and then you can select what should be in there.
I like the customization aspect to it because again, art is openly interpreted. So some people may see some artwork as an avatar where it's actually a pet, or these different collections that represent different ideas or groups.
Let's just do flowers. I like. I was gonna pick these two because I like Gaia's call for that.
And it looks like there's a max capacity of 50 NFTs per tab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that depends on the rank. So Shivani's rank, because she's staking Mocha tokens, has increased that limit from 10 to 50. And yeah, that way you can basically create more tabs with the ranks. You can like put more in, and it also incentivizes the people to like really like keep their liquidity there, because at some point, like after you've created everything and you have really like built something up that allows you to identify yourself with all the assets that you have, you don't really want to like remove the liquidity, because then also like the profile is cut out in a way. Because like if you have created 100 NFTs and then you can only like display 10, like 19 will be like invisible until you stack up again and increase your rank. So that is something that we assume might be even more important than the yield that the staking farms bring to the people.
Smart. And as the platform grows, there's so many different staking farms that just migrate their tokens and their liquidity everywhere. It'll definitely find their way over here.
Yeah, we are really looking forward to create something meaningful around this, and also like try to build this as like a building block, an NFT building block for social media platforms, for Web3 native social media platforms that can query our APIs and then get like a structured inventory of NFTs that has been curated by that Ethereum address, and then can display these different buckets like in the social media UI. So the user has like instantly like filled up like stuff in their social media profile that has been curated inside their Mocha members pass, for example.
Correct.
And we're also talking to Collabland right now. Like they already have our endpoints, and they have been starting to like build an integration into their bot, so that you will be able at some point when they are ready to ship this into one of the next updates to type exclamation mark or slash crypto art. And then the bot knows your address because you have handshaked in your ETH address into your Discord handle on that server. And then the bot can query the API and then directly send a link to your crypto art tab. Or when I type exclamation mark pets and I have this tab called pets, can send a link to that directly into Mocha and maybe even display like a preview image of the first NFT that's in there. So that's what we want to build, like a puzzle piece that really helps the entire NFT ecosystem to grow and engage and spark discussion there.
Yeah, these are some pretty large puzzle pieces, I have to say, that you guys have setting into place. So yeah, we thank you. This has been an incredible tour. I enjoy what you guys are doing. I actually have a much firmer grasp and understanding on the vision that you guys are instilling and the route that everything is going. So thank you guys for doing this. Is there any last words, anything like that you'd like to mention? Maybe anything to look forward to for some of the community members or those who have been listening that they should see, or ways that they can reach both of you and get more involved with the Museum of Crypto Art?
I think the best way is to join our Discord, definitely, because that's where we are closest. And the way you can find this is go to app.museum.cryptoart.com and then click on wiki, and then there will be automatically like a connect button. We also have like everything linked on the Twitter, but the wiki will be like a good place to start exploring and learning about this. We have how-tos linked there, video tutorials, and the manifesto, which again like states why we are doing this, with which intentions, and where this is heading. So I guess that makes sense to join our Discord and become a part of the community.
I think all ideas, like we really are open for everything. And as much as people are interested in contributing to the culture of like what we are living, I guess what we're trying to do. So I would say in the short term, like for information, Discord and Wiki, the forum, I think, is a place to start playing in terms of ideas. And the app right now is where you can like really start to see other people who collect in the same way you do. So I think those are two places that are just open, and it's a way to start to put your ideas like on chain and record what you would like.
We're open sourcing ideas just as much as we're open sourcing software.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful part.
It.
Well, thank you guys again for doing this.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Love it. Everything that you're doing. And hopefully for all my Mooncat friends, make sure we get to number 1 so that we can represent. Thank you.
Nice,
Thank you guys
so much,
thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.